Howdy ho, and welcome to the Brinx and Hearse podcast. My name is Ryan McNeill.
Michael Frieri.
And today we're going to be talking about some more movies for you.
Of course.
You know, the world of cinema is so wide,
Oh, yes.
so much variety in it. And we would like to stress that fact today. Today we're going to walk you through 13 different genres, and we're going to pick one movie of each.
Mm-hmm.
And the practice is if you had somebody who had never seen a movie before, you could only show them one movie from that genre, what would it be?
That's true. But I also am trying to steer away from movies that we've been talking about frequently.
Yes, I as well.
There could have been movies on here that I would gladly be the essential movie, but just to mix things up on the pod.
For the sake of like you said, keep things fresh, variety amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And it isn't always the best movie, just sometimes an essential kind of movie.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kick things off, keeping it lighthearted, a little bit of comedy. What's the one comedy movie you would go with, Mikey?
This is one of my favorite movies. I think it's one of the best high school movies, coming of age movies. I'm talking American Pie.
I have not seen American Pie.
I don't know what the general consensus on the movie is from audiences, but I love this thing. It's so much fun. It's so many good laughs. I
think the consensus is it's a great teen movie.
Yeah.
I think it hasn't lost that status at all.
Yeah. It's 30 jokes are fantastic here. And it doesn't do anything in poor taste.
Okay.
Which I love. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's one of my favorite movies. It is on my top 4 on Letterboxd.
Yes, it is.
Actually, 3 of my top 4 are on here.
Getting a little Frieri special.
Yes, you are. You are. I think I watched this movie maybe 8th grade for the first time.
Okay.
And I
Good time to watch it.
I watch it like once every 2 months, maybe.
Wow. That's heavy rotation.
It's a comfort movie.
Okay.
You just can put it on.
Short, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like an hour and a half, maybe. Really cool, really fun. You got a lot of, I think it's 4 main gentlemen.
Okay.
And they all have their respective character arc.
Okay.
And I think it fits the bill really well. And each is an interesting individual in and of itself.
I would always meaning to give it a look-see.
I would give it a look-see. On to you.
My one comedy movie is also one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm gonna go with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I haven't seen this one.
Incredible. Shane Black, Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer. And it is a detective movie and there's a mystery storyline, yes, but it is absolutely hilarious. And it's also not to the extent of American Pie, I don't think. A lot of the jokes are just stupid.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just insults and people hitting themselves, but it works in that storyline where it's supposed to be very serious. It's matters of life and death. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is, you like The Nice Guys?
Yeah.
So I think you would like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Both these were close because they honestly are 2 of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. And I like how you say, like, it's kind of a, buddy cop movie, but it's also, it's mostly a comedy, you would say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think we kind of need to note that because a movie, it's very rare where a movie is just one genre,
And it most of the time it shouldn't be just one thing,
Yes. But we're picking, regardless of what their main, regardless of how many genres they fit, if we were to say best drama movie, we pick, or best, like in your case, best comedy movie, even though if it's many bills, you pick Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
If you had to fit it in a box somewhere, this is where I'd fit it. And like you said, the first time you saw American Pie, first time I saw this, I was in high school. And I think I saw like the first hour or so one night. Or no, I think I finished the whole movie. And I watched it the very next day. And I've never done that with a movie before, where I literally go back to it the very next day.
I do it very often, actually.
Oh, I really don't do that. I don't rewatch a lot of movies, honestly. I feel like I remember things pretty well. Then I always want to like try out new stuff. This was a rare instance where right away I was like, I want to see that again because it just made me laugh. And the plot was fun and intricate, and there's no like one character who's like, oh, they're the comic relief. It's everybody. There's no villain who's supposed to be serious. Everyone has funny jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's my comedy pick right there.
Nice. Nice. And now, let's turn way down.
To the horror. The humanity. What are you going with, Mikey? In the realm of horror.
The one I hate horror movies, but this is the one horror movie that I respect as a horror movie and can
I believe I know what it is.
sit through.
Yeah.
It's The Shining.
Okay, yeah.
That's what you thought it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is strange because I think that's harder for me to sit through than like a slasher movie.
See, I don't think I'm good with like jump scares. I think that's where it kills me, or like something like demonic.
Okay.
This was more psychological, which
Yes.
is easier for me. The only thing that really killed me was the old lady coming out. That thing scared me.
Terrifying scene.
Yeah.
Terrifying scene in the shower, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like jump scares don't really get me because I think a jump scare doesn't scare you. It just surprises you. That's what that jump is. You're not really scared of anything.
Yeah,
You're just taken aback for a second. You still don't like it. Okay.
I don't like those.
But The Shining, I think, is harder to. It would be like I still love it and I can still watch it, but that's harder for me to get through than a movie with a bunch of blood and gore and jump scares. Just because The Shining just gets under your skin for 2.5 hours.
The gore isn't so bad for me. It's just like the scary figures that they portray, like say an Exorcist. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, Exorcist is great.
Yeah. What's your pick?
My horror, I'm gonna go with Psycho. I'm gonna go old school with it. Yeah,
Makes sense.
I saw this at a young age, too young of an age, I will say.
I never seen it.
It's still scary. There's still stuff that gets under my skin. Obviously, the shower scene is famous, and it's one of the best scenes I think in any movie. Probably, it's just done so well, so quickly. Music helps out a lot, and the ending scene where I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen anything, but there's a twist at the end.
I'll probably give it a watch eventually.
There's a twist at the end which is terrifying in multiple ways, from what you realize, what you see, and it's incredibly unnerving. And the very last line of the movie too, it leaves you scared. I like a movie where things aren't resolved at the end. And sometimes it seems kind of cheap where it's like, oh, they're not really dead. This like does it very well where it's like you still can't sleep well at night. Like the story's wrapped up and there's closure, but there's still something to be scared about. Yeah. And Psycho does that very, very well.
I get that. On to action. This was a tough one.
I knew what I was going with, but there are a lot of great action movies. And there's lots of different, like I even considered something like Captain America Civil War. Because I think that's one of the best action movies.
I should have considered a Marvel movie. I didn't. Mostly because, like, say I said Infinity War, you would have to sit through X amount of movies, which kind of takes away from it. So
yeah, especially for this practice of like watch these movies.
Yeah. But I think the action movie lost its way a little bit along the lines. But there was one that stood out recently that I've seen. I mean, it's not so recent anymore, but that I've seen recently. That's John Wick.
Fantastic.
I mean, it's when I say most movies don't fit one genre, this is just pure action.
This is an action movie. Yeah. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the simplicity of the movie is what makes it so good.
Yeah.
He pissed off these guys and they killed his dog and now he wants revenge.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all it is. There's no MacGuffin or anything. He just wants to kill people.
I haven't seen anything beyond the first one. But
the other ones are good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the newest one.
I heard it's good too.
But yeah, 2 and what was the most recent one? Parabellum, I think was the third one called.
What was the fourth? They just made a fourth one.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm mixing them up, but all the first 3 I've seen are all very, very good. And the third one might be as good as the first one, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, and it's got style to it. It's not everything's gray.
Yeah.
You know, and the Russians have like the text going on. There's more going on.
The cool club scenes.
Yes, the scene in the club is probably one of the best action scenes of the century, honestly. My action, I'm going with one of my favorite movies of all time, Die Hard. You can't go wrong with Die Hard.
I can't believe I didn't think of this. I would probably put Die Hard over John Wick.
Yeah. I mean...
But it's good that we had differing lists.
Yes. Christmas movie.
Yes.
Best action movie ever. And it's so good because John McClane he's just a guy.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
He's just a guy. Because they offered it to so many people, and it was Schwarzenegger and Stallone all passed on. If it was some giant dude, it wouldn't have worked the same.
No.
Because those guys, they could believably kind of just, of course they'd win. McClane, you always feel like his back is against the wall. And he's not afraid to look vulnerable. There's so many times, the whole movie, he's nervous and panicking, and he's not sure if he's going to get out of this. And that's what makes Die Hard so good, is that there's just incredible tension throughout. And it is one of the best movie villains ever, with Hans Gruber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan Rickman absolutely killed it.
Also, I love the scenes of him talking to the other cop that's on the...
Oh, yeah. Sergeant Al Powell.
Yeah. Really cool scenes.
Yes. And then at the end, when they go down and all the papers are flying, and they just see each other, and they're like, I know you. Yes.
Yeah.
They just know it's the one they've been talking to on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have to go with Die Hard there. But John Wick, probably the best action movie in recent memory as well.
Okay. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon me. 1,000 pardons.
1,000 pardons.
What were we doing?
We were in the realm of drama.
All right, drama.
A very broad category.
Yes.
Encompasses a lot of movies.
This was a hard one to really pick because it's like I feel like everything's drama.
Yeah, nothing's really just a drama movie.
Yeah.
And usually if I see something where it's just like, that's all it looks like, I'm like, that looks really boring.
Yes.
So what did you end up going with? What did you whittle it down to?
This one might actually be mostly a drama now that we're saying it, but another one of my favorite movies, Whiplash.
Would
you consider that drama? I think so. There's not action.
I can't think of anything else to call it, so yeah.
All right, yeah. I mean, it holds a very special place in my heart, this movie. I think this is Chazelle's best.
Not your favorite.
Not my favorite, but it's his best for sure.
But the best.
I think just the raw emotions portrayed in this movie with Neiman and Fletcher, amazing. Just it captures the emotions of kind of like a tough mentor, like Fletcher is, so well, to the point where he's such an asshole that. When are you looking at my hair?
No.
Oh. To the point, like Neiman hates him, but he kind of feeds off his praise, and he needs him almost to really succeed.
He needs that validation.
Yes, he needs the validation, and it all leads up to the big finish in the end, where I wouldn't say it's the best ending, not like best ending, like. So, like best ending for the viewer. It's not great payoff.
Yeah, I don't particularly really remember it that well, so I don't remember it being that remarkable.
No. That's what I'm saying. The ending is great. It's a fantastic ending, but
it's not satisfying.
Not satisfying the way you think.
Okay,
I won't spoil it because we're making recommendations here. But it's a fantastic ending. But it's like. It's almost like the viewer isn't happy that it happened.
Okay.
But they portray
you understand why it happened.
You should yes, you understand, but you kind of the movie's made for you to feel happy at the ending. Okay. But the way when you think about it, you shouldn't be, because it's like, well, what happens after that?
Okay.
Does he really break away, so
it's a tad ambiguous.
Yes,
do with it what you will.
I don't know, maybe I'm overlooking it because I'm just thinking about what would happen after. It's you don't remember the ending?
Not particularly well, honestly. I remember Fletcher just ends up like he gets a job at like a small club, right?
No, well, that's before the ending.
Oh, then I don't remember the ending.
Really?
No, not really. And I liked the movie.
I don't want to say it, but
don't say anything. This builds it up as a complex kind of ending.
If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking. I think you'll understand what I'm trying to get across here. And if you remember the ending, sorry, Ryan, you don't remember the ending. Yeah, love this movie to death, and it's so much adrenaline.
Yes.
it's a very anxious movie. You're very anxious while watching this.
Yeah. That's a good drama pick. I'm going to go with Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Seems kind of obvious.
This was one I didn't know what genre to put under.
That's another. But I feel like with most drama movies, like if I'm trying to look at it, I'm like, well, I guess that's the only thing I could call it.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Shawshank.
I agree.
Because it's an epic of a movie, spans many years. It's a long movie, and not a lot particularly happens, in all honesty. We remember a lot because it's just so good, but there's no big action sequence. There's no hilarious sequence in any point in the movie. It's just a series of very good conversations that builds and builds tension.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say as opposed, but there's no mistaking that the ending of Shawshank is one of the most satisfying movie endings of all time.
Yes.
And just to see Andy and Red's relationship grow and grow, and where each of them come from and end up going together, and all the other guys in the prison too, that you learn it when they're in there and then when they get out. It's just fantastic. And I like prison stuff. I like stuff where people are kind of, I don't want to say trapped, but like where people are just in one place.
Okay.
And not like one room location movies, but like, I don't know, where the lack of options of places to go. Sometimes
the audience
really
feels kind of trapped when they watch these kind of things.
Yes, you can identify with them.
Yeah.
Because they're stuck in that setting and you're kind of stuck in that setting too. So it's easier to like get involved with them. One of the other ones was Cuckoo's Nest, which I was looking at, which fits that same kind of bill.
Yeah.
Which I get is the only thing I guess you call it a drama. I don't know what else you could call it.
Yeah, and that's another one where I didn't have it on the. I mean, another one of my favorite movies. But I just didn't know what to really put it under, and I don't think I think putting it under an umbrella does it a disservice.
That's true, because it's funny too.
Yes.
Yeah. So those were our dramas: Whiplash and Shawshank. Now we move on to romance.
Now, speaking of Chazelle.
Oh, is that right?
My favorite movie, as of right now, of all time, is La La Land.
Knew it. Yeah, I had a feeling that was coming in hot.
Yeah. Now, we do have musicals on the list, but I don't consider this a musical.
Which I definitely understand. It starts out with Another Day of Sun. There's someone in the crowd. They play City of Stars every now and then, but it's not like this full song, really.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's an intro or a chorus, whatever you want to call it. So there's really only two musical numbers that I think you can clearly identify in this. So I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could go on about this.
Yes, you could.
I think, and this is why I put it under romance instead of musical. It's not about the music. It is not. The movie is not about the music.
Not at all.
You are not do not watch La La Land thinking you're about to watch the next Hamilton. You know.
Yeah, a musical. The music moves the story forward or lets you know things about characters. La La Land doesn't really do that.
Yeah, La La Land is just a really good romance movie, which is some good tunes here and there.
Yes.
And I think romance is where it thrives. Mia and Sebastian. What's her name? Jesus Christ.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling. So much chemistry. Like, I wish they were my parents almost. So much chemistry.
I get where you're coming from. Yeah. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. And you see a beautiful love girl. They're both in Hollywood. They're both chasing their dreams. And they push each other.
Yeah.
To really reach those dreams. And without one another, it would never come true. And I think the ending it makes me cry every time I watch it.
Yeah.
So crushing, yet it feels necessary for both these characters.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, because if it ends any other way, it doesn't feel like they grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do see the argument that it didn't need to happen that way, which I guess so, but then it wouldn't be such a good movie, I guess.
I think it's better the way it ends.
Yeah, I agree.
If it ended in the opposite direction, it would have been forced from everything that happened before.
Yeah.
And because when it does end, there's an understanding between them. And they have that little smile and nod.
Exactly.
To let you know everything you need to know.
Yeah. Well, do you know Chazelle finishes all of his movies with two people looking at each other?
Oh, I don't think I know.
I mean, Whiplash. It ends with Neiman and Fletcher looking at each other.
Oh, okay.
La La Land.
Babylon, I guess he's looking at the movies.
Babylon, yeah, he's watching the movies because he's so in love with the movies. And First Man, it's Neil Armstrong looking at his wife.
Oh, okay.
I
mean, we're okay. It's gonna get broader if it's like, oh, every movie ends with someone looking at something.
Anyways, and it's just such a magical.
It does feel very magical, especially when they go to
the
see
planetarium.
The planetarium.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's exactly the scene I'm talking about. I can watch this movie day in, day out.
So you mentioned soul crushing. I got a little movie called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Never seen it.
It is a movie, I envy that fact.
Oh.
I envy that fact.
Whoa.
Because the money I would pay to see this movie again for the first time, oh my God. Because the less you know, the better, honestly. Because...
The less I know, the better.
Is that a song?
Yeah, Tame Impala.
Oh, I don't know any Tame Impala.
Okay, continue.
I know they have the album with the
marble and the squirrel.
The marble, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's from.
Oh, okay. But Eternal Sunshine is a movie that it's about a relationship that it has honestly some science fiction elements to it as well. I don't know how much you know about the plot, but
no.
Okay. I'll give you the basic plot.
Okay.
Without giving too much away, that it's in a world where people can have memories erased. So certain people break up with someone, and then they have all those memories of the relationship erased, so they don't feel that pain anymore.
Okay.
And I'll just leave it as that. So,
all right, cool.
Two wonderful leads with Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. They're both amazing in the movie, and it's an incredibly surreal movie. It goes places no movie really I've seen go. And again, the ending is, I think, maybe my favorite ending of all time, maybe the best ending of all time, because I don't know if there's a definitive way it's supposed to go. But personally, I think there's two equally valid ways to view what happens at the end. And one is heartbreaking, one is beautiful. It depends on how you look at it. And it's based on the same, you can't argue with what happens, but you can view this same exact thing completely different ways, depending on who you ask about it. So that's one of the reasons I love this movie, is you can feel a different way about it every time you watch it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I go with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And it tracks a relationship all the way through and back around again. So that's my top pick. And it does things in a new way. There's no movie like this one, let alone a romance movie like this one.
Yeah.
So I go with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I heard it's very crushing. Or you just said it was.
Yeah, it is. It's more soul crushing than anything else. But I do sometimes find a strange comfort in it as well.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about it. But yeah, I think I'm in the minority there. But now we move on to, what do we got for that next category, Mikey? We got
biopic.
We got biopics. We're getting historical.
Yeah.
What do you have for your?
I mean, mine is not so much deep into history. Early 2000s.
Is yours Moneyball?
Mine is fucking Moneyball.
Okay, yeah.
The story of Billy Bean and the 2002 A's.
Well, yeah. Okay, yeah. It's a biography on that team. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I love this thing. I think it's the best baseball movie. I think it's the best sports movie. I think it's the most interesting and...
We could do a whole episode on sports movies.
That's true.
Stay tuned, folks.
Interesting and less cookie cutter. You know, it isn't as formulaic as most sports movies are.
No, because it's a movie more about business.
Yeah.
And how you conduct business in conventional, unconventional ways, how you act as a leader.
Yeah.
It's not about because the perspective of the players is... it's such a small part of the movie.
Exactly.
Who the players are and what they do, really.
And I love, he was he was like a first round pick and he just didn't live up to snuff. And he, throughout the entire movie, you feel the guilt, or not the guilt, just kind of like the disappointment.
Yeah, in himself.
And he, takes it out through this team. He's starting a new project, and he turns heads, and he kind of changes the game.
Oh, he did change baseball forever. Yeah.
I think it's an excellent portrayal by Brad Pitt. One of my favorites of his roles.
Oh, yeah.
Jonah Hill is great in this too.
He is fantastic.
Really good.
You imagine being Billy Bean getting that call, saying,
God,
"Hey, we casted you
Brad
in the movie."
Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Imagine
he must have been walking
Imagine
on
Brad
air.
calls you up and be like, "Hey, man, I just want to talk to you. Like, pick your brain. Can I come over?"
And I know the manager hated his portrayal, understandably.
Yeah,
they make the manager seem.
I
like
hear a lot
just
of
a useless piece. Of
a
shit.
lot of complaints about the manager's portrayal, because he was dealt with what he had.
Yeah, and usually, even when sometimes, like, I don't agree with every portrayal of like a real person in something.
Yeah.
But usually, there's a reason they are portrayed like that.
Yeah.
Whether it's just a little bit of them or more of them, there's usually a reason why they went in that direction.
And obviously, in every biopic, everything's a little more
Hollywoodized.
Yeah. So,
which I can live with.
Decisions need to be made to at least make the story a little more interesting. But I mean, with this story, this true story here, you're dealt pretty much one of the most interesting stories.
Oh yeah, you don't need more
of all time.
Yeah,
wasn't so hard.
Yeah,
but Moneyball.
That is one of the best movies on history, I guess you could call it, and one of the best sports movies. My biopic, I went with one on an individual. I went with the epic Malcolm X. I think this is Spike Lee's best movie. It is over 3 hours long, and it deserves to be in every way. There's not a wasted second of this movie. Every scene is integral to telling his story, from his youth, his upbringing, his time in prison, his time in Boston, how he got involved with the Nation of Islam, and how he grew into the leader he became. It's all a fascinating story on one of the most fascinating figures of the 20th century, and also just one of the most fascinating figures in history. What are you laughing at?
I can't believe I picked Billy Bean and you picked Malcolm X.
This is why we're doing this. You got to mix it up.
I feel like such an asshole. Anyways.
These are recommendations.
Yeah.
And, some people might like Moneyball. Some people might like Malcolm X. There's no saying which one people like more. So, yeah, I went with this. Spike Lee, Denzel. What more do you have to do? Denzel's best role as well, in my opinion, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I had to go with this one. Yeah. Oh, easily one of the greats. Yeah. Portraying one of the greats. So, I had to go with Malcolm X.
I've never seen
about
it. I really should see
it. It's not the easiest watch in the world because it obviously deals with a lot of very serious issues. And he lived a full life in only, I don't know if he lived 40 years maybe, but it's an incredible, incredible movie. And it has an incredible ending too, where it's kind of fourth wall breaking, but sometimes with a biopic, sometimes that's the way to go, honestly, to just present it in almost documentary form towards the ending.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went with that one. And now we move on. To what world are we going into, Mikey?
Animation.
And what is animation?
Animation is cinema.
The wise words of Guillermo del Toro live on in the Brinx and Hearse podcast. Almost every episode now.
Yes. I think we say it all the time. I like it, though.
Yes, and it's a very true statement.
Yeah.
It is not a subgenre. It is its own genre. It is cinema. Now, what animated movie did you go with, Mikey?
I have two here. I don't know which one to give. Do you have one definitive one?
I think I do now.
I'll throw it to you first.
Okay, I'm going with Mitchell's versus the Machines. I've talked about this movie plenty of times on the podcast.
Shocking.
There were a lot of great options. I mean, I love Shrek 2. I love The Incredibles. I love Lilo and Stitch. But this movie that came out for 2021, I believe, I can watch it all day long. It's hilarious. It's heartwarming. It's heartfelt. I get chills and I get a little choked up every time I watch it. Gives you everything you need. And talking about just the possibilities of animation, beautifully animated movie as well. Same kind of touches as Spider-Verse, but I think not as much coming at you at once. Much more, I don't want to say more stylized, but I prefer this style to Spider-Verse in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, was it done by the same company as Spider-Verse?
I'd be surprised.
It's very Spider-Verse-esque.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really did like this one too. It was so much fun. And yes, the animation was great. I think when I think of a good animation, like when I'm saying my quintessential animation movie, I want to say something that presents what animation can really do. Not just a movie that's good and also animated, but
Yes.
a good animated movie, like I said before we recorded this. And I think The Mitchells definitely hits that bar, and I think it's a great message. It's very heartfelt and hopeful and uplifting.
Yes. It's a very uplifting movie as well. There's big comfort movie vibes from this one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Very funny too.
Oh,
I love the comedy.
Yeah.
Good pick. All right. I'm going to go the way that I was leaning lesser towards of my two. I'm going to go with Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Ooh, I like it.
A stop motion.
Does that count as animation? Stop motion animation? Yeah, they call it that. Okay.
Sure, yeah, why wouldn't it? I get it.
Because it's a physical thing, I guess. You could argue it isn't, but they call it stop motion animation, so... animation.
Yeah. All right, fight me on it. I'm
not fighting
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
If I was to get into the weeds of it, but I don't want to get into the weeds.
Can I just say for the record, my other pick?
Yeah, go for it.
Was Spirited Away.
Yes, beautifully animated movie. Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think also if you're looking to get into some pretty funny stuff with Wes movies, this is his best. He just has such a beautiful way of making movies.
Yeah, Wes's movies always look beautiful and they're always well put together, and he can take that to the nth degree in something like this.
Yes, I think he thrives the most in a stop motion film like this, or even if you want to do like a straight animation film.
Yeah.
Characters are so lovely. I think George Clooney does a great job as Mr. Fox.
It's wild how like this movie has like George Clooney and Meryl Streep in it, and this is like the best acting I've seen either of them do probably in this movie.
Yeah. It's heartfelt. It hits a lot of really pretty dark tones from time to time.
It does.
It's almost like a little heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, it definitely can be.
I love this thing. Really good.
It's a fantastic movie. One of Wes's best for sure.
Yeah.
And it again, great director. Put him in the world of animation. Amazing things happen. It expands what they already can do.
Yeah.
So now we move on to turning things back around the other way. Crime.
Yes.
What did you have for crime film, Mikey?
The Godfather.
Yep.
I mean,
what more must we say?
An absolute epic. So many iconic scenes, so many iconic lines. It's definitely once you watch this, you definitely don't never forget it.
One of the best acted movies ever.
Yes, one of the best acted movies for sure. I mean, and it's also just kind of haunting at times, like at the end during the baptism. And
is there a better scene than the baptism scene?
I don't think so.
In anything?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Actually, I do think the scene that might top it, also in the same movie though, is the scene when he, grabs the gun from the.
Oh yeah.
Won't spoil it.
That's one of the most suspenseful scenes.
Yeah. I always remember that scene because they're speaking in Italian the entire time, and for whatever reason, when I was watching it on TV, it didn't have the subtitles. I don't know if they do now, but they didn't have the subtitles. And my dad, speaks a little bit Italian. And I go like, Dad, what is he saying? And he would like recite he would like translate the entire scene for me. Very memorable for me.
I always kind of assumed like it's not necessary to know what they're saying. I guess
that's true. That's true too.
But still, would have been nice.
Yeah. And also, I think the Thanksgiving movie.
Oh, Thanksgiving.
It plays every Thanksgiving. You know that?
Oh, on AMC probably. I'm guessing.
Something like that. Yeah.
I think they usually play The Godfathers on Father's Day. I think too.
Oh.
Because there was one Father's Day where there was like a golf tournament and they're playing the Godfather movies. So I was like, well, my dad's set for like the next 10 hours. I don't have to worry about him at all.
Yeah.
Crime was a tough one for me between, obviously, The Godfathers. I had a feeling you were going to go with that one. I'm going to go with Goodfellas.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's the best Scorsese movie, probably the best crime movie, maybe the best movie ever. I would definitely go as far as to say that.
Okay, cool.
And
I like it.
People always talk about how Scorsese's so good and De Niro's great in this. Pesci's so good in it. Pesci won the Oscar for it. The movie doesn't work if Ray Liotta isn't amazing in it.
Yeah.
And Ray Liotta is so good in this movie. And there's obviously bigger names around him, so he kind of, even the director, he gets overshadowed just a little bit. But start to finish, he's amazing in this, and especially the scene where he's on the pills and the helicopters are flying overhead, and he's got to take the guy to the hospital, and then he keeps going back in the kitchen. He keeps telling Michael in the wheelchair to keep stirring the sauce. It's so frantic, and he can keep up with the pace. He can take you along that ride. So I'm gonna go Goodfellas. I have to put in a mention for Dog Day Afternoon.
Never heard of this.
Really?
No.
Pacino, 1975, bank heist movie, negotiating with the cops across the street. A lot of movies have borrowed from this. A lot of movies have parodied from this. Maybe Pacino's best performance. And it also has John Cazale in it, who played Fredo.
Oh.
Yes, he unfortunately he passed away, I think in like 79, 80 maybe, of cancer. He was in 5 movies. All of them were nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was that guy.
I think it's funny because I think both of our picks for crime, Goodfellas and The Godfather, I think
They're the consensus, I feel.
if you're asked, what is the movie?
Yeah.
You can say either or.
Yeah. I mean, it's a genre that's allowed for so much. A lot of garbage has come of it because people have seen the heights that it can reach.
Yeah.
So people have tried lower levels.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, it's a formula that works more times than not, I feel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crime. Now we move on to science fiction.
Yes.
Now, this is where we mentioned the part of, this is for recommendations.
Yeah.
Because one of Mikey's favorite movies is Interstellar. But he's not going to recommend Interstellar for someone who's never seen a movie before. They'd probably have some kind of aneurysm.
Yes.
So, Mikey, what are you recommending?
Now, I could have went Star Wars. I probably would have went Star Wars.
I could have went Star Wars too, but I also didn't go
But we
Star
just had
Wars.
an episode on Star Wars. So, I wanted to keep it fresh.
And also, if you say, like, hey, watch Star Wars, you can't tell them to watch one Star Wars movie.
Exactly.
So,
I'm going to go with what I think is the best alien take on an alien invasion movie, and I'm talking Arrival. Arrival by Denis Villeneuve.
Yes. Very Nolan-esque in terms of the time.
Yeah, I can see
Especially
that.
That ending absolutely blew my mind when I saw this in the theater.
Yep. And I think it's so refreshing in kind of this alien invasion sect of movies where it's all just about aliens coming to kill you, whatever.
Yeah. This is, why are they here? And you can communicate with them.
Yes.
You don't know what's going on with them. You don't really know what they look like, really, aside from just the thing that splashes on the thing.
Well, you do eventually see what they fully look like, I think. And
No, I must not remember it.
when she goes in the fog with them. She goes inside.
Oh, I can kind of remember. They're like almost squiddy-like, I think. from what I remember.
Yeah, it's really like haunting yet so fucking cool. And
usually I say a slow burn is like a backhanded compliment to a movie or just like an insult to a movie. This is a slow burn in the best possible way.
Yes. And I think it's so cool because usually, obviously, the aliens are made to be the villains, but it shows that the true villains are the ones on Earth with us right now.
Very Twilight Zone-esque.
Yeah. And again, no action whatsoever.
No, none at all.
But it's so interesting.
Yeah, another movie that's hypnotic.
Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner do a great job.
Forrest Whitaker, too, is like the guy above them. Yeah. That's a good pick. I'm also going on a alien invasion movie. It's just one alien, though. And his name is E.T.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Alien.
No.
Okay.
Aliens in space. It's not like... It's like an attack on a spaceship. But yeah, E.T. I think is... If you're going to like watch one sci-fi movie, I think Alien's a pretty good one to start with. It's a good palette to not start up in space. To be like an alien here on Earth. It's cute. It's adorable. It's fun. It's heartbreaking towards the end when he goes and comes back and then he has to leave. So many emotions run through you in that last like half hour or so. And I mean, it's just whimsy.
Yeah.
It's just whimsical. It's a Spielberg special.
And you never thought you would grow to love a entity not from this Earth. And that's kind of gross looking.
He is kind of gross looking.
But you do.
Yes, you do.
Very well crafted by Spielberg.
And it's got those Reese's peanut butter.
Iconic.
Yeah, the Reese's Pieces, excuse me.
Yes.
So that's science fiction. Now we move into the realm of fantasy.
Yes.
And this was a tough one.
Oh, not for me.
But, okay.
Not for me.
Oh, because of...
Because Lord of the Rings exists.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings exists. Yeah, that as a whole, you can pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can pick any one of those movies, or you can pick the whole thing. Lord of the Rings, people.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it at least once.
You're a bigger Lord of the Rings guy than I am, but I get all the fandom towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the greatest characters of all time with Samwise Gamgee. Frodo's also really good, but Samwise obviously takes the cake.
Yeah, people like him much more.
Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli's pretty good. Gandalf,
obviously. Yeah. Sauron.
I'm forgetting what Solomon, the evil wizard. Isn't it Solomon? Christopher Lee.
I thought. Was he Saruman?
Saruman.
And then the eye was Sauron, right?
Yeah, the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible villains. What was the guy with the who had like the big helmet and there was just like a black void?
Yeah.
For a
So
face?
I think that is Sauron.
Oh, that's
Sauron,
right.
But the eye is the eye
like
of
human.
Sauron.
That's right. He becomes like human form. Yeah.
Well, no, Sauron was always a person.
Oh, I remember. Okay,
And he got corrupted by the ring.
Oh, okay.
I think.
The long movies, people.
Yeah. These things are long.
I just remember that visual where the sword going into the Black Void's face. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Didn't even mention Gollum. Talk about how good they are, and we didn't even mention Gollum. That's the level those movies
He was creepy. He always creeped me out when I was a kid.
Oh, understandably. I'm going a bit of a different direction for fantasy.
Okay.
And I think you could call this, is this a fantasy movie? I don't know.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to go with Willy Wonka.
I could see it.
The Oompa Loompas.
Yeah.
A lot of mystery about how things work.
It's a world of wonder.
Yeah, it is a world of wonder. Very eccentric. I'm assuming he's got money. Millionaire, I'll say. And you just go from one thing to the next, and it's very strange. You're not sure where you are and how things work in this world. Like there's the scene where they go to the very little door. Mm-hmm. They open it up, and it's this big giant door. Then obviously everything with the Oompa Loompas, who I hope he didn't enslave, but there are theories that he did. And then and the boat ride.
Yeah.
That's kind of a fantasy sequence. There's no answers to anything that's going on.
I think probably like the most fantastical scene is when he's going through the like garden or whatever, and he's eating the teacups, and he's like everything in here could be eaten.
Yeah, very surreal, that movie. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love it too. Yeah, there's nothing wrong about that movie.
Oh yeah,
and all the songs are good too, all the Oompa Loompa songs, and that leads us into our musicals.
Oh, I like the transition there.
Yes.
This one was really tough.
It was tough. I almost went with Willy Wonka for my musical, but I found one better, I think.
Pure Imagination.
Beautiful song.
So like I said, I could have very well picked La La Land, but again, I don't consider it a musical.
Yeah, neither do I.
I'm just gonna go with Tangled.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean it's a Disney animated musical, but all the characters are good, all the songs are really good.
Yeah, I mean Disney they know their musicals, man. I think they do it the best. And I think you got I mean there's Frozen, but I think Tangled best's Frozen.
I agree with that. Yeah. And I think the songs as well. Mother Knows Best is great. Yes. And then I've Got a Dream with all the guys in the bar.
Yeah.
Fantastic songs. I'm going with a movie that I almost picked for fantasy as well, but I'm going with musical here. I'm going with The Wizard of Oz.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Why are you surprised?
Because yes, it's a very historic movie for the good, but I'm thinking more for the bad.
Really?
Yeah, I can't watch this movie without thinking of all the horrible things that went on.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, it was a big step forward for movie making. I'm not saying that justifies a lot of the things that were forced Judy Garland to do, and well, the stories about the Munchkins can be kind of funny sometimes, though. But it's just a wonderful movie, start to finish.
Okay,
it's beautiful. Everything about it. And it's a very fantastical world. Obviously much more of a fantasy movie than Willy Wonka. And I love all of the songs on it. I watched this movie. Me and my brother would go to my grandma's sometimes and stay there, and we would just watch it over and over again when we were little. And so we know practically every line in the movie at this point. So it obviously holds a special place in our heart, and I think it still holds up in every way. Yeah.
I respect that opinion.
Yeah. It's a very big movie as well. Lots of different locations. And I love all the songs.
I think everything aside, you got to put respect to it.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. So I got to go with Wizard of Oz there for fantasy. Musical. And now we turn things around to the wild, Wild West. What do you got for your Western, Mikey?
I got another animated movie.
Ah.
Rango.
Yeah.
I think this is like I said a couple episodes ago. This could be the best animated movie. But luckily,
okay, I haven't seen it, so I can't really speak on it. But
I love this thing, man. It's 100% a Western, and
that's what I've heard people say. Yeah,
it's just so cool. It's just so cool.
Johnny Depp's hit or miss for me, so I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into.
I recommend everyone to see it, which is why it's on my list.
It's on my list to see it someday.
Yeah. Check that out in our hot takes episode. I spoke a little more on it.
That's right. I knew you had mentioned it before somewhere. My Western, I'm also going with a bit of an adjunct, but I'm going with Blazing Saddles. I think it's one of the greatest comedy movies of all time. Still holds up today. It's just as daring and risque as it was back then. And it takes place in the Wild West. Mm-hmm. And it's mocking the whole idea of a lot of old-timey Westerns, mocking the idea of just the Wild West in general, what people believed was good and bad, right and wrong, how the Wild West operated with people shooting people dead in the street and everything. So I have to go with that one. I think it's one of the finest Westerns we've seen.
That's a very good pick.
Yeah. And now we go forward 100 years or so to the modern war film.
Yes.
Now, what did you go for war? There were a lot of different options, and I also went with another unconventional pick here.
This is an unconventional pick right here for me.
Okay, what did you go with?
Because it's not much battle.
Okay.
1917.
Oh, that's definitely a war movie, though.
It's a war movie.
Yeah.
But, it's not a war movie. I don't know.
He's not actively in the trenches start to finish.
Yeah, he just has a set, deliver the message. That's it. There's war going on all around him, obviously.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the same as Private Ryan, though. They're on a mission, and war happens to come along the way.
Well, when there's D-Day in a movie, I think it's
just
definitely
the opening.
war.
Yeah, it's the opening. People always talk about that scene, and then they don't mention the rest of the film.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that scene was crazy.
Yeah,
you have to mention it when I'm talking about it. But anyways, and I think the way this movie is shot is something to behold, where it's just taking him like basically one take, except for I think there was like one scene where he passes out and time skips over just a little bit, but it's a total journey, and I love it.
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
and that is another movie. Like, even if you're not I'm not a big war movie guy, but I love that movie.
Yeah,
and it's just an amazing movie to watch. I went with Tropic Thunder.
Wow, that's a cool pick, man.
So they're making a fake war movie.
Yeah,
but they do stumble into actual conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the jungle. The soundtrack, what they're wearing, it feels like a real Vietnam movie. And it ends in a big action sequence. It ends like a war.
Yeah.
I go with that one.
That's such a good
It's
pick.
hilarious, and it has war movie vibes throughout it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because, they're making a war movie. So I have to go with that one, actually. Yeah.
Really, really, really good pick.
Mm.
I'm blown away.
Had to go with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big Stiller guy, honestly.
Neither am I.
I love that movie,
Jerry
though.
Stiller?
Jerry Stiller.
Come on.
Forget it. Jerry Stiller.
The highest of podiums for
the
him.
best of us.
Yes.
Jerry Stiller. But RDJ, Jack Black, Tom Cruise as Les Grossman. I mean, just some of the funniest performances I've ever seen. All in one movie. So I had to go with Tropic Thunder.
Nice.
So I think if we did one thing today, we've displayed the variety of cinema.
And just a little bonus, I think we could say our essential podcast will be the Brinx, and Hearse.
I agree. It will be the Brinx, and Hearse podcast. And that's what you've been listening to. My name is Ryan McNeill.
I'm Michael Frieri.
And we wish you a Heidi.
Ho!